So guys, you must have heard that terrorists stormed a Catholic private school in Niger State and kidnapped children again. This happened the night that down to today. So guys, Nigeria is boiling. Nigeria is burning. Let me take you through this headline. Like you can see here, it says, the statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary set ablaze by the terrorists during the attack in St. Mary's private primary and secondary school in Niger State. We will continue to argue that the terrorism is not targeted. That's what this person tweeted. Also, take a look at this video here. And the headline is coming from Sahara Reporters. This is what it says. Watch, fully armed terrorists dressed as soldiers attend wedding Fatiha of top kingpin in Zamfara as Nigeria security crisis deepens. So guys, this country is finished. Just take a look at the video. See how sophisticated these people appeared in public. No military can dare them again. No police can dare them. Nobody can speak. These people have captured Nigeria. Do we even have a commander-in-chief? Do we have a president? See how bandits, terrorists that used to go hiding, they now come out publicly because they've been granted opportunity to come out and say we are having peace deal. Now they openly move around with their firearm. So guys, this is Nigeria for you. Nnamdi Kanu was sentenced to life imprisonment for making broadcasts, for saying something in a video. See the real terrorists carrying sophisticated weapons in the public, where children can take view of them. You can see how rotten the country is deteriorating. So guys, we just pray that God will save us. Anyway, let me allow you to take a look at some of the updates of this news that happened in Niger State. Don't forget that the terrorists have already named their price for the abducted school girls in Kebbi State. They said they want 100 million naira per head, and we heard they took about 25 students or so. So guys, it is business. At the same time, it's not a good news for the country. Let me take you through some of the reactions. This one is coming from a United States media house, and it says, faith under fire. Gunmen storm St. Mary's Catholic School in Nigeria, kidnapping dozens of students in latest attack targeting Christians. And this other one here says, breaking terrorists invade Catholic school in Niger, kidnap students, staff. And this one is a figure that was put out by National Bureau of Statistics last year, December 18th, 2024. It says more than 614,000 Nigerians were killed and 2.2 Nigerians were abducted in 1 year. Just in 1 year, this was the figure put out by this organization, National Bureau of Statistics. And now the state governor has equally reacted to the incident. He said, just in, the Niger state government has condemned the kidnapping of pupils from St. Mary's School in Papiri, Agwara local government, saying the incident occurred after the school reopened without government clearance, despite a prior directive suspending boarding activities in the area. You see, the leaders are not ready to fight the terrorism. They are rather telling schools not to reopen. See the flimsy excuses. Why shouldn't school reopen? Because of terrorists. There is no political will to destroy this terrorism in Nigeria. Now, the Catholic Diocese of Kontakora has equally put out this. It says attack and kidnapping of people, students and teachers of St. Mary's Catholic Primary and Secondary School, Papiri, Niger State. And then it went further to say this is to inform us that armed attackers invaded St. Mary's Catholic Primary and Secondary School in Papiri, Niger State in the early hours of 21st November 2025, abducting some people, students, teachers, and security personnel who was badly shot. The incident occurred between 1 a.m., can you imagine, and 3 a.m., causing fear and distress within the school community. And it says that the Catholic Diocese of Kontagora strongly condemned the attack and expressed deep concern for the safety of the kidnapped children and their families. Security agencies were immediately informed and have begun coordinated effort to ensure the safe rescue and return of the victims. The bishop assures the people that the diocese is actively collaborating with security operatives, community leaders, and government authorities. So guys, you can imagine these children are just little children. Can you imagine the trauma they must be going through now at the hands of their captors? Nigeria is finished. There's politics everywhere. Politics have taken over. They don't care about the people. So guys, while we were still talking about Kebbi, Niger State happened, and while we are still talking about Niger that happened today, I mean the news broke today, take a look at what is happening in Nasarawa State. Nasarawa, it says that Nigeria under Tinubu, once again, English Alhaji revealed that some students have reportedly been abducted at St. Peter's Foundation Secondary School in Rukubi, Doma, local government area of Nasarawa State. So guys, I'm just going to allow you to take a look at more updates on all this news, just for you to know that the country is having a very tough time under this poor leadership we have on ground, because their children are in abroad. It does not concern them. Even if the school system in Nigeria collapses, it's nobody's concern. That's why politics has overtaken the space. You have seen them defecting and receiving defectors into their party while Nigeria is boiling. Now take a look at these videos.
Structure.
Inda suka buga harsakin
Redubulate enter.
yawa ku shigo a shigo ba hankali ku yawa
I just finished speaking with my mom, and let me tell you guys, my mom said they went to Papiri because from Papiri to where we are staying is not even up to 15 minutes. They went there because my sister Anuli is in that school. She's currently in secondary school in that school. They went there and it was more than 200 students. They picked up more than 200 people in that school. Some are 4 years, 3 years, some are 4 siblings, some are 3 siblings. They picked up all these people and they tied them like sheep and goats walking inside bush. They tied them. My mom said people that were coming to that school, some parents that were coming to that school through the road, through the bike, that they saw them. They saw them they saw their kids on the road walking inside bush. They were tied like goats, like sheep. This is getting out of hand. More than 200 people were kidnapped this morning. More than 200. And Anuli, she was so lucky to escape because they in secondary school that they didn't get to secondary school part. They got to the primary school section and they jumped fence. Anuli is currently in the house now. Just finished with my mom. They jumped fence. Most of their classmates jumped fence. They were able to capture the little children, 4, 3, 5 years. That was the people they kidnapped. And according to my mom, they saw plane. Plane. How did bandits get plane? How?
One of the attackers was killed as they made their way out after that attack, and your people found his ID card. Are you sure that that's a valid ID card?
Let me tell you, I'm saying this on national TV. I've already said it a lot of times on international television. I've addressed the Congressional Committee on Africa, the United States Congress, the Subcommittee on Africa. I've told them this, I've told them this again when I addressed the American press at the press club, the iconic press club, which is just 3 blocks away from the White House in Washington, D.C. I've told them this. Look, I'm an authority in this area. I've been immersed in this thing in the last 10 years. I'm like the poster boy of my village. I've been around. I've been on ground. Do you know that even 2 weeks before June 13th attack?
Yes.
2 weeks That's on May 28th, on the eve of this, the second anniversary of this government. There was an attack on my village where 6 people were killed. They slaughtered one of my father's closest friends, a retired army corporal, Ulam, that's his name, with his wife and his 2 children and his nephews in his compound. That's on May 28th. So the following day, May 29th, in our ward headquarters, which is called Ude, it's in the hinterland. You know, Yerota is on the highway. So Ude, our ward headquarters, is 5 kilometers away from Yerota in the bush. It's a village that has a railway station. So in that Ude, in the morning of the following day, a thief woman was going to her farm to fetch firewood. And she passed a Fulani guy who was squatting and was trying to fix something in a motorbike that was spoiled. Okay. So she saw some splashes of blood on his clothes. Of course, that's the ground for suspicion. So she went back to the village and raised alarm amongst the youth. And so the youth came to the scene where the guy was repairing his bike. They accosted him. And after some interrogation, the guy was able to confess that they were the ones who struck in Yerwata the previous night and slaughtered about 6 people. And so that the guy who gave him that bike is a soldier, a Fulani soldier in that village of Ude. That village, Ude. Because, you know, there are detachment of soldiers in Yerwata. Yes. There are detachment of soldiers in Ude. And so they took the guy and went to the station where it's a primary school in the village where soldiers were stationed. They accosted the soldiers there. The soldiers started shooting the air. The youth said they dared the soldiers to kill all of them. That this guy, the soldier who gave this guy this bike, must answer to it. So the officer in charge in Ude now brought out the soldier that was accused. Do you know his reasons for giving the guy the bike? He said he gave the guy the bike the previous day because the guy came to meet him and say his brother was beaten by a snake, and so he needed to take the brother to the hospital, and so he gave the guy the bike to take his brother. So who is that brother who was beaten by a snake? Which hospital? Why would a Fulani soldier give a Fulani guy who has never met anywhere a bike 24 hours to last more than 24 hours? And that was how that this Suleiman was taken back to Makodi, to the 72 Special Forces brigade in Makodi, and handed over to the soldiers. And that was the end of the case. So these are some things we'll be facing every now and then: soldiers collusion, the government collusion. It's something we live with. And like I told you, I'm an authority in this area. That is my village. My dad was the immediate past village head who he passed in 2023, and my cousin Kumagajo is the current village head. So a lot of people sometimes when I speak from America, they begin to imagine, they say, no, this guy, no, bro. I am a complete villager.
Thank you.
Enough is enough.
We are here.
Enough is enough.
Thank you.
They are playing politics with people's lives. They come us into this ground without ammo, without ammunition. We have to cop this very particular area within a tinkle of a second. I know what kind of us can do.
Good or fine?
I know what kind of us can do.
Good to go.
How many parties are inside this bush?
Good to go.
Playing politics. They are playing politics with people. Big men are eating money at the pub there.
Saying that we should not even do
that we should not go after them. That is for me.
Okay.
This is the full information for you people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. I will appreciate you.
Yes.
Big time.
I'm not a coward.
All right. So Shagumi, 52 kids were abducted yesterday at St. Mary's Church School in Mina, Niger State. These kids are between the age of 10 to 19 years old. Only God knows what they are doing to those kids as we speak. Shagumi, 32 kids were abducted in KB State. Shagumi, while a church service was going on at CAC in Kwara State, terrorists entered into the church. They were shooting up, and at the end of the day, they killed some people. Not just that, they carried about 38 of them. And as we speak now, they are requesting for 100 million naira per head. Shagumi, please, I beg you, we need those kids back. These are your people. At the end of the day, I don't care if anybody's going to say You are defaming him, you must bring proof. Shegumi, these terrorists are your people. These terrorists are your people. You have said it before that these people are on a revenge mission. What revenge mission? What did they do to these people? What did they do to these people that they are revenging? Even if you want to revenge, why are you carrying kids from school? Why are you going into the churches? You are carrying girls? Which revenge mission? You went on saying that, oh, they are demonizing them. Why is the government demonizing them? That they should do a peace deal. We are not. Why are the government even thinking of peace deal? Soldier, police, DSS, if you don't know what to do, there's only one man that knows these people better than you all do in Nigeria. Go and ask Shegumi. Shegumi, me, if they will not ask you, I will beg you, Shegumi, please return these kids. If nobody will say it, I will say it. Shegumi, return these kids. And you are not a Muslim. You are not a Muslim. You are hiding under Islam to do all these things. Therefore, lying to these people. You are not a Muslim. You are a terrorist sympathizer. Shegumi, you are the only person that knows where these people are. You have been sympathizing for them. They say, show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. Shegumi, return these people that your people have abducted. Return the 52 kids to their parents. Return the 32 kids that were taken in KB State. And these other 38 people, the one where they don't buy them. These other 38 people, please return them. And to the federal government, if you don't know what to do, let somebody else that know what to do to come up. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you have a lead. Carry Shegumi. Shegumi will point where these things are happening. He knows them. We are tired. We are tired. This is a video. This is him.
You mentioned earlier that the bandits, the terrorists, needs convincing, you know, and we all know the havoc they've created, you know, in the society in Nigeria. They've raped women, they've killed lives, they've destroyed properties. So do we really need, do the government really need to convince these terrorists at this point?
So when you say they have killed, yes, I know they have killed, but you see, if you know their psychology, they are on a revenge mission. Everybody knows the herdsmen, especially the Fulani herdsmen. They don't just attack people. We have been living with them for centuries. They don't attack people without any cause. So what I think government needs to do is to really bring them up together in a unison and in a holistic form so that there is peace. And they are ready for that because if you call them for peace, they come. So why is government afraid of listening to these people? They just want to demonize them and give
Man is fearless, just saying all those things. He's definitely a terrorist sympathizer. So Shegumi, you and government have your own. Please return those kids. And whatever revenge mission they have, I don't know what the problem is, who started it, but they should carry out their revenge on the people that started it. Don't go for the innocent kids.
Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Makurdi, Wilfred Anagbe, has warned in testimony before the United States House Subcommittee on Africa that Christianity faces the risk of being wiped out in parts of the North and Middle Belt. Anagbe told U.S. lawmakers on Thursday that Nigeria was entering one of its darkest periods for Christians, citing unrelenting killings, mass displacement, and targeted attacks carried out with impunity. Meanwhile, U.S. Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs has criticized President Donald Trump's threat of unilateral military action in Nigeria over alleged Christian genocide, describing the rhetoric as reckless and potentially dangerous for communities already facing widespread insecurity.
Have the privilege of witnessing, the privilege of experiencing. I'm not talking about as a privilege of opinion. Mr. Chairman, ranking members, distinguished members of the subcommittee, thank you for inviting me back to testify on the escalating crisis of Christian persecution and genocide in Nigeria. 6 months ago, precisely on 13th March 2025, when I last appeared before this committee, I warned that the situation was there and demanded urgent attention. Tragically, the past half year has proven those warnings understated the continued attack on vulnerable Christian villages by the Fulani ethnic militia and their counterparts, both in the middle belt of Nigeria and elsewhere in the country. Since my testimony in March 2025, credible reports from organizations monitoring religious freedom.
Founder and General Overseer of Living Waters Unlimited, Reverend Laddie Thompson, joins me now for this conversation. Thank you for joining us. Let's just establish your thoughts on the allegations about the U.S. president that led to this hearing on Christian genocide in Nigeria.
Well, in one statement, let me sum it up. I think it's the same as an allegation that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Could you take that again, please?
I said to you, my answer is simple. You're talking about an alleged genocide. And I'm saying that there's an alleged publication that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Talking about alleged and this new phraseology in the war of narratives with which...
okay, I get you now. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the ongoing U.S. Congress open hearing that's started today and adjourned?
Well, let me say this to you quickly. My own emphasis has never been just on what the U.S. is doing. And I welcome this hearing for the simple fact that there's a truth that Nigeria refuses to acknowledge. And unfortunately, because we have refused to acknowledge this truth, God has had to raise external voices to prod us to give value to human worth. So there's nothing new about what is going on, the hearings. There have been hearings like this over the past 20 years. I want to thank people like Frank Wolf. The Congressman Chris Smith has always been there to protect the lives of Africans and Nigerians in particular. And I want to tell you that the only difference this time around is the fact that somehow Donald J. Trump, instead of toeing the line that presidents of America before him have done, which is to trade Nigeria off in what they describe as the pacification of terrorists with territories, he has chosen instead to give value to the life of the Nigerian citizen in a way that neither the Nigerian government, nor the Nigerian media, nor Nigerian politicians, nor Nigerian education, and all the institutes that are charged with bettering the life of citizens in a way they have not given value to the life of citizens.
Okay, so let's talk about how the U.S. government's stance and potential policy responses, such as sanctions, threat of sanctions, and humanitarian aid withdrawal will impact the situation on the ground in Nigeria. I mean, we heard Sarah Jacobs talk about not supporting the rhetoric about coming in and using force not to exacerbate the situation for those who are already suffering.
Not for her to talk, and thank God for whatever experience she has. But if I was to pick up my phone now and 300 families at least to give you what their experience is, and then to imagine that God has raised somebody who will give value to their lives, and then to imagine that somebody is denying. Now, this is of African leaders. First of all, Nigeria is a country that is so compromised, it's amazing. And I'm not surprised, because if you have a presidency that believes that any problem that money cannot solve can be solved by more money. So I'm not surprised that despite the fact that poverty has been weaponized, and a presidency that is denying an obvious truth, to what lengths will it not go to support the lie that it is projecting. Unfortunately for Nigeria, I remember it was Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa on the 7th, was it, of October in 1960, who attended the United Nations General Assembly meeting, who spoke about where Nigeria is today, right now. And he said when this day comes, he gave us an advice that we should use what? Eternal truths. Leave lies behind.
Okay, I didn't quite. Perhaps I missed it. I didn't quite get your response to the impact this is likely to have in Nigeria. But let's get away a bit from the accusation and the explanation on the reality of the situation, and let's talk about what the main challenge is in addressing religious violence and protecting minority communities like Christians in Nigeria, especially in the local context and regional, basically local context, really.
The issue at stake is not a minority. The problem on ground is bigger than religion, accepted, but it involves religion. To understand that what we're dealing with is much bigger, as it were, than mere politics. I don't know if you're following me or not.
Yeah, I'm trying because I'm trying so you can perhaps highlight and point us in the way to go, whether it is the politicians or the people. You said most of us are culpable in what is going on with Christians. So I want you to talk to us about what are the biggest challenges and how we can begin to look for solutions. I think we're having a network challenge, quite unfortunate, because I really wanted to hear his thoughts on a way out of this quagmire we find ourselves. But thank you very much, Reverend, for speaking with us in absentia. All right, let's tell you that with the festive season looming, the highway corridor along Kogi State's Lokoja, Kotonkarfi, Abaji Express route, a major north-south artery, is getting urgent attention. State and federal agencies have commenced the inspection of the corridor, while contractors saddled with effecting emergency works have pledged temporary opening. You have been, this matter is not a new one, you have been on the matter of Christian genocide for decades, and it seems no one is listening. But do you really think this government can solve the problem, considering that at some point there are accusations that there is maybe involvement, accusations against the government of being involved in this?
Thank you. Now, first of all, complicity by governance is nothing new. We're dealing with a hydra that has been working on Nigeria with a new template from the late 1990s. So the truth is this: if this government is ready to face truth, I think that within it, the government has what it takes to solve this problem. But the first thing it needs to do is to come out of denial, because even President Jonathan admitted that there were moles in high places in his days. Now, let me tell you something. Out of this CPC designation, there are two things that can come out for Nigeria out of it. It's an opportunity that is very big. Number one, the value of human worth in Nigeria can be established in a way that Nigeria will be quantum leaped from where it is right now, in such a way that the 10 golden years of the Western region will be nothing compared to the development of Nigeria. Because once we value human worth and build a government for Nigeria based on that, we're going to go far. Secondly, out of this, if we handle it properly, can come a situation where right now the Nigerian naira is 1,600, 1,700 to US dollar. Out of this situation can come a result where that inflation, that rate will be brought down to, let's say, 320 naira to the US dollar. So there are two games that can come out of handling this CPC properly. And this is what we need to do. Washington right now is fair game. What President Trump has done is to confront something that nobody else dares to confront. What Nigeria now needs to do is...
Bandits have reportedly, this time, abducted an unspecified number of students and staff from St. Mary's School in Papiri, located in Agwara local government area of Niger State. Confirming the incident in a telephone interview, the head of disaster and relief for Agwara local government, Ahmed Abdullahi Rufai, revealed that the attackers invaded the school in the early hours of the morning between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. He noted that the exact number of abducted students and staff is yet to be determined as authorities continue to assess the situation. Now, this latest abduction comes just days after a similar attack in Maga, Kebbi State, where gunmen kidnapped 25 students from another school, raising fresh concerns over the worsening insecurity across educational institutions in the region. We do have one man who has been following this story very, very closely right from the early hours of this morning. Journalist Ibrahim Ndamitso joins us this morning. Good morning to you, Ibrahim.
Good morning.
All right. Although you're very calm, I can tell that it's been a sleepless night following this latest development. Quite sad, we must say, and unfortunate yet again. Can you bring us up to speed what really happened and what's the entire story concerning this latest abduction?
Absolutely. Niger has always been a very concerned place with repeated banditry activities around the Niger North, which this local government falls into. So very early hours, bandits invaded the community in Papiri. Papiri is an Agwara local government area, and took away vehicles belonging to some locals, according to ground sources. Then went into the school, pick up kids in St. Mary, it's a missionary school, pick up kids and some of their teachers. Reports come in shows that there are quite young kids this time around who have been picked. And the number is happening. The head of the local government disaster who confirmed the incident earlier said it is not clear how many people have been taken away, but certainly that particular area is not new to this cases of banditry. A few weeks ago, the member representing that federal constituency was also attacked, and some of his security aides were killed. He escaped, narrowly because a lot of his aides were injured. His car was badly damaged. So it's not attacks such as this is only, except that schools have never been attacked in that local government. Not that schools have never been attacked in Niger State.
I've signaled that we can't really hear you clearly. So yeah, a bit muffled. So I want to ask, because this is a very, very important information you're passing. Is it possible that you take off your earpiece, possibly, so we can hear you clearly? We can't really hear you. It's a bit muffled, so we can get the information you're passing, so it can be clear. Because this, it's another one, and
very important conversation.
We really need to ensure that it's clear. So if you don't mind, if you've done that for us, it would be nice to repeat what you just shared with us in terms of what really happened. It's mentioned that it's between 2 and 3 a.m. and we really want to know what the situation is like then, or was like then, and is like now. Can you hear us? Can you go ahead?
Yeah. Can you hear me in this?
Much better.
Good. Please go ahead.
Now, Agwara local government is one local government that has been badly affected by this insecurity, particularly in recent years. It's part of the Niger North, which constitutes the Kwantagora, Rijau, Mariga, Mashegu, which has been on the news with banditry activities. And that local government actually borders Kebbi State and the famous candidate National Park. Again, school kidnapping have not taken place in that local government. Has never taken place. But this time around, It is happening in Papiri, which is a community, and the school is actually a missionary school with, so far, no specific number of kids who have been taken away as it is made public. But then the local government disaster officer, who is right on ground to assess the level of impact, said they are still collecting the numbers. So attacks such banditry attack is not new to Agwara. Few weeks ago, the member representing that federal constituency at the National Assembly was also attacked. Some of his aides killed, and a lot of other aides survived gun injury. So banditry attack is not new there, except that school has never been attacked there, not because schools have never been attacked in Niger State. Schools have been attacked in Niger State in 2021. Over 150 students were picked from an Islamia school, and it's the same year, very close to that place, Kagara Science School attack also took place.
Now, Ibrahim, you said the local government disaster response team has been at the scene of this another sad incident, and you've also told us that geographically Papiri is in the northern part of Niger State. Can you give us an idea of how far it is from the state capital, Minna, and if there's been any official government response from the governor, Omar Bago, or any member of the Niger State government beyond the local government level? And what's the current situation as we speak? Absolutely. It's a scary situation for the inhabitants of that local government. You know, parents are at this point at the stage where they really do not understand what to do. The state government has not issued a statement yet, not that I am aware of. I just put a call across to some of the close aides to the governor. Again, there is no statement from the government. Again, the question of having to have the exact situation is not very near, because the distance from Minna, the state capital, to Agwara should be over 200 kilometers. Should be over. Again, you have to cross the river to get to the place if you are going through the Kwantagora axis, which is largely a security, highly security threat zone right now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chairman Smith, for convening this hearing. And I just want to recognize real quick the tremendous impact that Chairman Smith has had in this realm of human rights, Christian persecution over the decades. I'm a former staff member, actually, of this committee. I worked on this committee when Chairman Smith was on this committee. He had a very large impact on me as a staff member, and to come full circle back around to be on a hearing on such an issue that was really inspired by Chairman Smith's work here when I was a staff member. Thank you for that. And but I think one of the things that's, and I would say disheartening in this, hearing some of the media reporting, and frankly, some of my colleagues on the other side of the dais here, is this misdirection of what is happening. There is a persecution of Christians in Nigeria. The witnesses have made that clear. We heard the bishop speak. I don't know how many times we have to hear it, or how many reports of martyred Christians, my brothers and sisters in Christ in Nigeria, how many times we have to hear that happen to take it seriously. And one of the things that concerns me is that it feels like at times it's echoing an indifference around this, and somehow we're going to develop our way out of it through developmental programs, and this indifference sounds like echoes of Rwanda to me, where we did nothing on that. And I think, as you remember quite clearly, President Clinton has stated that as one of his largest failures in his administration. President Trump has made a definitive decision to actively engage and stop the killing in Nigeria, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. You all have used a word that I think is very apt in this, and this is prioritization. And as Chairman Smith put it perfectly in his opening statement of this hearing when he spoke with the senior officials of the Nigerian government, is that we do want to work with them. We have the opportunity here. I think the Nigerians have an opportunity to deepen and strengthen their relationship with the United States if they will prioritize the protection of these communities. Of course, non-Christians are being killed too. We're not saying that's not happening, but there is a systematic, targeted campaign that's happening here. I met with that same delegation, same as Chairman Smith did, and some of the feedback we were getting is a little bit of that same misdirection. But let's not turn a blind eye to what's happening. Let's not believe our lying eyes, right? One thing I'd want to point out here is we've had religious organizations and advocacy groups have been calling for humanitarian assistance in the Middle Belt region. And my understanding is that the Tinubu administration has not specifically requested it. That's why it's not there. They just have to ask for it, and our State Department will then provide that assistance to those organizations on the ground. That is a perfect example of prioritization and indifference to what is happening here. So that would be a great, to use your department's term, confidence building measure on the part of the Tinubu government in this, if they are serious about this. Because I can promise you President Trump is. He is very serious about this. A question that I have for you is, the Nigerian Constitution prohibits the ownership of firearms. But somehow, these Fulani militants operating in the Middle Belt of region of the country, they're all armed. And we're not talking about ISIS, we're not talking about Boko Haram. Why hasn't there been some type of move or campaign by the Nigerian government to disarm these militants that are operating there, where we're seeing a lot of this killing that is coming from them? They have access to AK-47s and other small arms to slaughter Christians. Is this something that you've been talking to the Nigerian government about? Because I think it would actually have a serious impact, and it is something that I raised with the Nigerian government officials when we met with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Moore, and thank you also for your service on this task force that will be providing recommendations and your meetings with the Nigerian officials. Appreciate that. I think that this is an excellent suggestion as part of the strategy that we are putting together, in particular to talk about the policing aspect of this and what is happening in the Middle Belt, so that we can focus resources and have specific recommendations on actions that the Nigerian government can take. I very much appreciate that suggestion.
Yeah, it just seems to make all the sense in the world to me. It's like, here we are. I mean, I understand we're not going to get like ISIS to lay their arms down. That's probably more of a kinetic option there that's going to result in their arms no longer being brought up in anger against Christians. But in any event, this seems to be something that, obviously, I'm not saying it's easy, but it is something that they should be doing, they should be looking at. And while I got just a couple seconds left, I would urge the Nigerian government to take a look at pardoning Sunday Jackson, who is an individual who was fighting for his own life, defending his life against one of these Fulani militants. That Fulani militant lost his life in that struggle, and now that person, Sunday Jackson, is facing the death penalty. Now, where's the justice in that? Where is the justice in that? And all these Fulani militants are breaking the law. They are breaking Nigerian law. And so this Sunday Jackson disarms this person with a knife, protects his own life. He's going to prison and now faces the death penalty. And Fulani militants just roaming bands of them with AK-47s, and that's no problem. You are so right about this question of prioritization. I know I'm over time, Mr. Chairman, but I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much,
Mr. So, guys, there have been a lot of reactions as regards to Nnamdi Kanu being sentenced to life imprisonment. We hope that this is not the end We hope that something better is going to come out of this. I just pray that God will keep him strong and also help him, you know. Because as it stands now, honestly, what is coming in Nigeria is huge. I mean, if the government fails to do something in Nigeria, Nnamdi Kanu is not the problem. I wish all this while he has been shouting about marginalization, you know, and nobody listened until it became like a fight. Now he's tagged a terrorist, he's jailed and all that. The marginalization exists. Look at Tinubu now, he's in power. He has concentrated on Southwest. When Buhari was there, concentrated on the North. The North gave him votes. Those that didn't vote for him shouldn't expect anything. These are the causes of the marginalization. And when somebody says, I want to secede, you tag him a terrorist. Where is it done? Where is it done? Is it going to help? It won't. So let's move to another news. It's over 200 students taken from St. Mary's private primary and secondary schools in Niger State. Some as young as 3, 4. They were seen being led through the bush. According to my mom, a plane was spotted in the area. A plane was spotted. A relative of an eyewitness said, you know. So guys, a whole lot is happening in Nigeria. Like somebody said she saw plane. She saw plane. I'm just wondering what's happening in this country. The sophistication of these terrorists is really so tough. I mean, these people are so sophisticated. You will not believe these are bandits that didn't even enter primary school. There's this video I saw where you need to see their armored cars. Their armored cars, armored vehicles. Hey, God. When I saw this, I saw it yesterday on Twitter. I was like, Nigeria is gone. Nigeria is gone. If you look at the people operating these armored cars, you know they didn't enter primary 1. But now they operate. This Islamization agenda is real. And for them, you know, Allah gave them promise. You know? Allah gave them promise that if they buy others, that they will be welcome with 7 virgins. Possibly that is what they're fighting for. It's really sad, honestly. My heart bleeds for these children. Nigerian Christians kill herdsmen, so they are also killed. No genocide. Gumi, hey, Gumi has come. Says Nigerian Christians kill herdsmen, so they are also killed. You see, that's what Gumi is saying. Gumi is going about justifying words. Ew, Tinubu should resign. No, clueless man, honestly. Tinubu should resign. Tinubu should just resign. Resign. So guys, a whole lot is happening in Nigeria. I'm just so worried for the younger generation that are still going to face Nigeria. Look at the governor is giving an excuse. Niger State government blames St. Mary's School for mass abduction of people. Can you imagine? Blames them for mass abduction because they reopened when they are not supposed to reopen. It is execution that separates you. God. APC government. Failure upon failure. Their own is just to I'm really so worried about this country, honestly. This person here said, because St. Mary's School is the chief security officer of Niger State, did you swear on oath to protect the people of Niger State or blame them for not sitting in their locked room to avoid terrorists? You need to own up to your failure or bow your head and resign, honestly. How can you come out and be blaming the school for reopening? Nigerians, what are we not going to see under this kind of leaders? Blaming the school for resumption. Does it make sense? Does it make sense, Nigerians? It doesn't make sense, honestly. It doesn't make sense.